Hi and welcome to another episode. So we've got the Sony PlayStation Classic or the Mini, whichever way you want to argue it out, and we've got the wireless dongle, but we have a wired gamepad, and it is possible because, as we know, with 8bitdo we have the 8bitdo mod kit for the PlayStation Classic controller, and what this does is turn that into wireless. So what we need to do is take the PCB out of there and stick whatever is inside here in there. So let's get some scissors. What am I playing around with a screwdriver for? Let's get some scissors. Let's make sure everything is okay. Open it up. So here's the instructions. It basically tells you open it up and change it out and put it back together again. And then it tells you how to actually sync it up to the dongle. And inside the packaging, you can get past all the rustling. Don't need the cardboard box for now. As we know from the last episode, I converted a third-party NES controller or classic controller into a wireless one, and that worked fine with a little bit of modding. But this should be just quickly change it. No real worries of doing everything. So here's the charging cable. A little plug on the end, anti-static bag, which, like last time, it'll be so you can put all of that stuff inside here and look after it. Another screwdriver, which is nice. So let's get on with it and have a look at the PCB when we're actually transferring it across to minimize the possibilities of ruining it with anti-static, static problems actually. So screwdriver, does it fit? Yes, it fits. And it's magnetized, and that's how easy that is. Actually, it's a little magnetizing block on there inside the thing. So I'll jump back after I've done all these screws. So all the screws are taken out. You can see them all nicely lined up there. So let's take off the back. Falls away very easily. So we've got a little PCB in here which we need to remove. So first off, let's take out this obviously USB cable, micro USB. There we go. Comes off nice and easy. Move that to one side. But then we need to get out this little PCB. First things first, let's remove this little ribbon cable. So using your nails, just slide that back. Comes away quite easily, but be very careful because it is a thin ribbon cable. And then we need to take out the PCB. There's 3 clips, 1, 2, 3. So move it away ever so slightly, lift up, move it away ever so slightly, lift up, and then on the last one, again, move it out of the way, lift up. You might have to wobble a little bit because there's the pegs as well that are there. So that's one PCB out of the way. Let's put that there for now, and then get hold of the new fancy one that we want, which is basically the battery stuck to Bluetooth. It's got a USB so that you can update the firmware at some point if it needs to be. At the moment there isn't any. Then there's a bit for the ribbon cable, and then there's the charging port. So let's fit the charging port first because I've got a feeling that'd be a good thing to do. So slide that in there. Oh, I think it's supposed to slide in there anyway. Let's try that again. There we go. Ooh. Ah, I see. It sits, this screw peg, or what looks like a screw peg, it slides behind that and sort of sits next to it. Seems to be a nice place to put that. Just push down nice and firmly. Now let's click in the PCB, making sure that the wire is on the left hand side of this screw peg, because we don't want to ruin the wires when we're putting the screw in. Press down the left hand side, press down the right hand side, and then as you're doing that, this bottom one seems to do all by itself. So that's nice and in there now. Again, still making sure that the wires for the battery are out of the way. There is a pad on here, so we need to take off the sticky back protection thing. This is always a fun thing to do when you haven't really trimmed your nails back. Come on. Why isn't this coming away? It's always a fiddly bit, I find. Why is that not coming up? Let's find this bit interesting to do. How about I do a cut back until I find Okay, and while I've done that, my neighbours decided to start mowing the grass or whatever, so hopefully you can't hear that. But anyway, take off the sticky back bit, stick it there, and then make sure that the wires to the battery stick down there. And then of course, we need the most important bit of it actually talking to the stuff at the front, so we can press 5 buttons and whatnot. So again, try to line this up. Make sure it's in firmly and nice and flat and horizontal to each other, or parallel to each other, you know what I mean? So it's all in there nicely. This is still in a nice good spot. Put the back on. Everything seems to be sealed nicely, because otherwise you would feel that the wires were in the way. But let's make sure that we get that screw in there, so line up the right one. Get in there and go anti-clockwise at first so that you can feel the screw pop in. You'll feel it when it gets there, you know what I mean? And then when it feels that it's dropped in properly, screw the correct way, which is clockwise. You know, righty tighty, lefty loosey, that sort of thing. And then put the rest of the screws in all over, because now you know that you haven't damaged the wires in there. And then I'll jump back when everything's screwed back together again. Okay, it's all screwed back together again. All seems fine. Not to worry with that. With this though, you need to upgrade your firmware if you're not already on the latest and greatest version. Now, I highly recommend that you don't use the little update tool which has the red background that comes with the firmwares that you would have been doing previously. You'd have been used to that. 8bitdo have like a all one fits all sort of firmware updater now. Use that one, it's a lot better, because if I use the update versions from the red background and you got to latest greatest version of version 1.3 or even past version 1.24, so 1.25 and so on, it wouldn't work. The directional pad will work, but the fire buttons wouldn't work, and the L2 and R2 become Z-axis controls instead of just normal fire buttons. So use the latest and greatest update program that they use. It seems to work a lot better for that. If you do have a few problems though, drop back to version 1.24 using the red background firmware, and then use the newer version of the firmware Zappy program that does everything. So let's plug this in. I've purposely synced it to something else right now so that you get to see what you have to do if it doesn't happen to work when you're trying to sync. So you press X and hold that down, press the start button, it will start to flash, and then you hold select down for 3 seconds and it flashes a lot faster. And then on the adapter, just press the sync button and then it'll start flashing like mad as well, and you just wait a little bit. It does eventually do it. It does take a little while, as you can see. And there we go. Just to show you in real time, I know it was a little bit boring to watch, but that is how long it can take in real time. So let's turn the console on and go to full screen. Now, as you may notice, we've got a cursor or a timer, little watch. There we go, we've got the pointer now. And we can move around and we can select games perfectly fine. I know that cursor's annoying right there, but the best time to get rid of it is when you've actually started a game. So let's start one. And as it's starting, press select and all the 5 buttons at once across the top here. So triangle, circle, X and square, but don't hold select down for too long because otherwise it'll start trying to sync. Basically, if you hold select down for 3 seconds, it'll want to sync. So as I say, select and all the buttons at once, and there we go, we've got rid of the cursor. And that's it really, everything works the way you expect it to do. So I hope that was helpful yet again. As always, happy gaming.